Imagine this. You're a kid, and you've been playing Pokemon Blue a lot. You've spent days playing the game, you've got all the rare mythical Pokemon, and you're just having a good time playing the game. And then your mom comes in and tells you that it's time for bed. So you turn off your game, and you go to bed knowing that you can start off right where you left off tomorrow. In the morning, you turn on your Game Boy and find your game just isn't there. All your save data has been wiped, and there's no way to get it back. Which is exactly what didn't happen to me. And the reason this didn't happen to me was because of this tool that I bought. I'm not sponsored by them, but I love their products. This is the Retro Blaster Programmer. This can dump your ROMs, and it can also dump your save files. And it also comes with different adapters so you could use it with different systems. For example, you don't need this Game Boy one if you're wanting to dump NES games. Press it down into place. Now you can dump your NES cartridges. But today we're going to be focusing on Game Boy. So on Game Boys, the save files for games like Pokemon will always eventually be erased. But let me show you why they get erased. So we'll remove my cartridge, and my Nintendo Power sticker, which I think is really cool, is disintegrating immensely. If we open up this game, we can show you exactly why the data is lost. Let's map out this board real quick. This is the actual game itself. All of the game's code is on this chip. This is a memory management controller that manages all the memory and swaps the banks needed for this chip to work. So this is where the game is saved, this RAM chip right here. But a RAM chip will only hold its information so long as it has power running through it. Back in 1990, whenever this was made, so as a cost-cutting measure, they used a RAM chip instead of flash memory to keep the price reasonably low. But they also needed a way for the RAM chip to save, because as I said, when you don't have any power to this chip, all your data is wiped. So that's when someone came up with the idea of putting a battery in the cartridge, so that it would always be powering this RAM chip. But a battery will only hold its power until it runs out, because that's what batteries do. So when the battery dies, so does your save file. So what can you do once this has been wiped? Well, nothing. There is no way to get your save file back. There's just no way. Once the battery dies, this chip loses all of its power, which wipes your game. And there is no way to get it back. But that's where the Retro Blaster comes in. You can take your copy of Pokemon or whatever game that uses a battery save, and then you can dump your save file to your computer. So, may sound like problem solved. But if you decide to keep playing your game even after you've copied it, and you get even further in the game, your save battery will still run out, and you will still lose all the progress you've made up to that point. So, what can you do in that situation? Well, it's going to be the thing that I'm going to show you in my video today, where I'm going to dump the contents of my save file and then replace the battery and then write it back. That way, the battery will be fresh and brand new, and I'll still have my save data. Let's go. So starting off here, I'm going to first insert my copy of Pokemon, and I will connect the Retro Blaster up to my computer. If I see the two blinking lights, then we're all good. So I have the Retro Blaster software up and running. And so all I need to do is hit the dump RAM button. And then just give it a name. I'll call it Pokemon Blue Save. And then I'll hit the save button. Just wait a few seconds. And it should appear where you saved it. I saved it to the desktop and it's right there. But it is also a good idea to load up your save in an emulator and make sure that everything is alright so you didn't get a bad dump. But after that, then you're ready to go on and replace the battery. So I'm down here in the garage ready to start replacing this battery. I'm first going to heat up my soldering iron and I'll be ready to start soldering. And of course I need the loud fan, obviously. I'm going to start by desoldering the battery so that I can then remove it. So that got the majority of the solder off that tab. Now I'm just going to use my solder wick to wick up the rest. That'll work for now, and now we go to the other side. What's that? Now I'm just going to pry it up using the blunt edge of this razor. I know it's not the smartest idea, but I want to play Pokemon. So now I have the battery out, and now we're going to save it. So now if we turn it off, and we turn it back on, having the battery removed will have the same effect as if the battery was dead. So if the battery just died on its own, this is what would happen. And boom, it's dead. So now let's go back and actually replace this battery. So now I'm back with a brand new battery. So now if you're following along at home, you need to make sure that the plus sign has to be with the plus. Now if you remember, the original was pointed upright, but with these batteries, the positive tab is on the bottom and the negative tab is on the top. So with these batteries, you'll need to have it upside down like this. So line it up like that. Now I'm going to use a piece of tape to hold it in place while I solder. Okay, and here we go. Now, turn on the fan. And I say that looks like a pretty good joint. Onto the other side. And that looks pretty good as well. So I'm going to take off this tape, clean up the flux, and I'll be ready to put it inside my Game Boy and see if it works. And before we see if it works, I'm going to write my save file back onto the cartridge. Now this program will not detect if the battery is depleted, so it'll just write it anyways. So now we'll see if it worked. So now this Game Boy's battery is replaced. Now I'm gonna plug it into my Nintendo Power Game Boy. Turn it on. So now let's see if my save file got correctly transferred over. And if it did, if it saved. 3, 2, 1. Let's continue. There's my player name. And there we go, the same place. This is perfect. Now let's just save it again, and let's see if it saves. Turn it off. Turn it back on. Continue, my name, and the exact spot I left off. This is great. So in conclusion, this isn't hard to do, but this is exactly why you need to know how to solder if you are into retro technology. So anyways, thanks for watching, comment, like, and subscribe. So goodbye.